Hi, I'm Beryl, and the theme for today's video is spam. Get ready to get spammed with some amazing recipes. I did do a spam episode in the early days of my channel, so if there is a recipe that you don't see in this one, it might be in that one, which is linked below. But for now, we have 5 new spam recipes from 5 countries, so let's begin.
Hi Beryl, my name is Irene and I am a Vietnamese-American born and raised in Southern California, but now I live in Minnesota, the birthplace of spam. The dish I want to tell you about is Bánh Mì spam. This is a sandwich built inside a Vietnamese baguette stuffed with slices of lightly fried spam, tomato and cucumber and black pepper, and that's it. The recipe is just 4 ingredients, but it is definitely greater than the sum of its parts, like all great sandwiches ought to be. The salty, fatty spam contrasted by the fresh vegetables, it just all goes together so well. You might think of a bánh mì as having like pickled vegetables, jalapeno, cilantro, lots of meats. But in Vietnamese, bánh mì just means sandwich, so you could put basically anything you want in one. My mom is from Central Vietnam, and they actually prefer to put cucumber, tomato, and sometimes lettuce in their bánh mì. So I have no idea if people actually eat this in Vietnam. This dish to me feels uniquely of the Vietnamese-American diaspora. It is very Vietnamese and so American at the same time, just like me. My parents grew up in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I'm pretty sure the Vietnam War is why spam was brought to Vietnam. My mom told me that she thought of spam as this exotic delicacy when she was a kid because the only way you could get it was through the Americans. This was a quick Saturday lunch that she would make for us every week, and I make it for my family to this day, and we all love it. Any time is a good time for a good sandwich.
Okay, this sandwich looks pretty amazing. I'm definitely intrigued that there's no sauce on it, but the tomato's quite juicy. I also want to say that this bread came from the Vietnamese bánh mì place near my house, and Leia went there and picked it up and was like, yeah, I just need the bread. And the guy's like, just the bread? I'm like, yeah, we're making bánh mì ourselves, and everyone was excited. So this is a legit bread roll. Ooh, it doesn't need a sauce. So this is like a BLT, but better. Wow. I'm honestly super hungry right now, and this is like hitting the spot. The tomato is super juicy, and the cucumber's got that crunch, and then the spam is just spammy and perfect. I really like fried spam. That crunchy exterior is honestly one of the best textures of any food ever. This bread is good, soft, and so I'm not having that like tired jaw syndrome that happens a lot of times I try to make sandwiches on this channel. Wow. I really like the idea of foods that are being made outside of their countries of origin. You know, we saw this in the pickle episode with Korean immigrants in the Soviet Union who couldn't make traditional kimchi and made this kind of iteration of it, which ended up being this Korean carrot salad. And here you have kind of a reimagined traditional bánh mì using ingredients that were readily available here. And I like that. It's cool to see how food can transform but also stay the same. Before we move on, I want to mention the artist behind me, Addeline Griswold. She is also the artist this month in our Patreon art club. This is a special print made for our channel. All of Adeline's artwork is super cool. I love how she incorporates tattoos into her characters. One of the fun things about this print is that they are all signed and numbered because they're special. So I'm really excited to share them with all of you in the art club. If you want to join it, I'm leaving a link in the description. Before we get to the next dish, I'd like to thank Babbel for sponsoring today's video. Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world that is actually scientifically proven to help you start speaking a new language within 3 weeks. The lessons are nothing like the ones that you had in school. In Spanish class, I know that I learned how to say, "Me gusta la música rock and roll." I have never said that. And I've also probably never said that in English, to be totally honest. What the app does teach you is actual conversational language, stuff that you could actually use. I have been studying Spanish for a while, and I will say that practicing at home gives you confidence to use it out in the world. And that's where a lot of the learning honestly takes place. Making mistakes is a part of it. I was out with my friend Lisa. She recorded me ordering something in Spanish. I will never make that mistake again. Jugo, juego, jugo, juego. I've learned it. And even though I did make that mistake, learning on Babbel is what gives me the confidence to use it outside of my living room. There are lots of languages to choose from. As you know, this is a big, beautiful world with lots of amazing languages in it. And if you only speak one, I feel like you're missing out on a lot of what the world has to offer. And if you watch this channel, I assume that you are curious about the world. If you're interested in trying it out, you can get 60% off your subscription using the link in my description. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. Okay, let's get back to the Spam dishes.
Hi Beryl, my name's Katie. I'm originally from Delaware, but now I live in Brooklyn, New York in the United States. And this is my mom, Signy. The dish that we want to talk to you about today is my Obaasan's fried rice.
My mother, she's from Japan, and my dad met her when he was in the military. He married her and brought her to the United States.
So how would you describe the Spam fried rice dish, which everybody in our family calls it Obaasan's fried rice?
Delicious. What makes it is the rice. You have to use sticky rice.
I think one of the other really good parts of the dish is the really crispy edges of the Spam because you saute them first. It's got the savory flavor of the soy sauce. And of course it's got slightly scrambled egg poured over it and kind of cooks in there with the rice. Like our family, we have it every Christmas, which is not, I guess, what you would think of a typical Christmas food. We also have a lot of other things that are a bit unusual at Christmas, but it goes well with a lot of different things. So our family is part Japanese. So we have, although we live in the United States, we have this Japanese heritage that influences some of the things that we eat, including this dish. But we don't in any way claim for it to be some kind of authentic Japanese fried rice. We don't know. So my grandmother made Obaasan. Spam's history in Asia seems to be really connected with war. It was sent over as rations for the soldiers during war when they were in Asia. As there was suffering and destruction from war, the United States also sent aid, and part of the aid was Spam. So there's sort of a storied past there where Spam is related to what caused the destruction and the issues, but it's also part of the help. And ultimately, people sort of assimilated to it and it became part of their own cuisine. But it's kind of similar to our own Obaasan story. She came to the United States and assimilated a bit to US culture. And she still brought her own dish, but she used what was available to her here in the United States, which part of that was Spam. And we're not sorry about it. we love it. It'll fill up your belly. It's a comforting flavor, comforting texture.
You'll go back for seconds because you can't just have one bowl.
You'll impress all of your friends.
This is my first time making fried rice, and I feel like it turned out really good. I've always been absolutely terrified to make fried rice. In my head, it's super complicated, and turns out that it's not. Oh my gosh. This is so good. It is the perfect blend of salty and ricey. Like the ratio of Spam to egg to rice is perfect. First time, huh? I could put this down. Katie, my compliments to your grandmother. Her recipe is perfection. If you want to try to make it, I would say the key to the success is letting the rice cool down. So if you're not using old rice and you're using fresh rice, you don't want it to be hot. And I get that because then you put hot rice in the pan, it probably isn't going to dry out and break apart the way you want it to. So this was in front of the fan cooling down after I cooked it, and I feel like it just turned out really well. I really feel like I'm at a restaurant right now. It's that good. I know that I'm really tooting my own horn here, but it's good to acknowledge your successes when you have them, so good job, Beryl. Thank you, Beryl. Katie also shared an image of her grandmother making this dish. I cannot. This is amazing. One of my favorite things on this channel is when I get to cook other people's family recipes, because then I imagine I've cooked it and maybe some of you will be inspired to cook it, and now all of a sudden people all around the world are going to be cooking Katie's grandmother's spam fried rice recipe, and that's just so fun and special and cool. And I hope that happens. So I guess that's to say, if you do make Katie's grandmother's fried rice, you should let us all know.
My name is Yan Ting and I am from Singapore. So today I would like to introduce a very humble dish that we don't really have a name for, but for identity's sake, we will just call it stir-fried spam with potatoes and baked beans. It is both savory and tangy. Normally, we will have this together with white rice. I had it since I was a kid, and it is those kind of dish that we term as a rice stealer. Before you know it, you would have already finished the whole bowl of rice and one more. It is literally a poor student's meal. I remember making this together with my dormitory mates during the exam period, and then we will just spread the newspaper on the floor in one of the rooms, and then we sat around it to have a meal while taking a break from all the studying. So now this is a dish that I will whip up at home whenever I'm not very inspirational or when I need something simple and comforting. Please give this dish a try, especially if you love eating rice and just want another side dish to go with it.
I think that this dish is very interesting, especially in how it's combining kind of English baked beans in tomato sauce with American spam. Truly just, the effects of military occupation all in one dish. However, I also think that this smells really good and is going to be very delicious. Yep. I feel like I say this a lot, but if you put a fried egg on this, this would be an amazing kind of breakfast hash. The potatoes and the beans and the spam are all like salty and carby. A runny yolk would be cherry on top. When Yan Ting and I were talking through email, she was saying, maybe this is just too homely of a dish. And I feel like so often we disparage the home-cooked versions of meals because they're not fancy enough or they're not, bazingy enough. But those are the meals that raised us. Those are the meals that really had great impact on who we are today. I feel the same way when we talk about chefs and cooking, all of these shows where they're like, we're gonna take you around, eat the best foods, and you're in these fancy restaurants, and I'm like, okay, 99% of the food that we eat is coming from a home cook. Why are we not lauding home cooks and the ingenuity at home? Why is it always about these fancy chefs and their fancy hats? I want to root for the home cook. I want the home cook to teach me how to cook. You know what I mean? I'm curious what you all think about this idea of like a chef versus a home cook. Do you think that one is better than the other? I definitely have a hot take, and I'm just curious of your takes. This dish tastes warm and cozy and comfy. I think that if you're somebody who's interested in spam, but isn't ready to go on full spam, this is a really great option because the spam is really just adding saltiness, and you can't even see it because of all the color and the other things in it. It's definitely a part of the whole versus the star of this dish. And so it's just surprisingly balancing very well. More spam dishes?
Hi, Beryl. This is Giselle Gonzalez. I am a New Yorker, born and raised, but I'm currently living in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I am also a first-generation mainlander with parents from Puerto Rico. And the dish that I'm presenting today is guisado de spam con plátano maduros, or stewed spam with sweet plantains. This stewed spam with sweet plantains starts off as many of our soups and stews do with a sofrito. That consists of onion, sweet peppers, garlic, and cilantro, and tomato paste. But ironically enough, it tastes different in whatever dish you're making. So for this particular dish, you get a wonderful taste of sweet, savory. You can also taste the aromatics. Served over white rice is amazing. It's very common to see canned meats in Puerto Rico. Back in the 50s and 60s, in the upper towns where the mountains are, there was no refrigeration. So you needed something that was shelf stable. And in comes spam, corned beef, Vienna sausages. This proved to be pretty useful in households that were having hard times. I remember when my mom would make this for me, she had to make a dollar stretch. She was widowed very young and she was raising a rambunctious young girl. So she had to work her magic with the pots and she never failed. I never felt lack growing up, so I was truly blessed. But this is like a hug on a plate. My mom would make it and it was wonderful. I could smell it and I knew what was coming. So humbly, I thank you for allowing me to share this with you. I hope you enjoy it when you do make it. From my heart to yours, bendiciones y buen provecho.
Okay, I've got my Puerto Rican spam dish, and before I try it, I do want to say yes, I'm wearing my cat collar shirt that a lot of you love. I bought it in Japan, and so I do not have the opportunity to be like, oh, it's just this shop, but I Googled cat collar online and I found a shirt that looks pretty much exactly the same, so I hope that that helps. Oh! Man, I just love this episode. Everything tastes so good. Having had a few different spam dishes at this point, I would say that this is definitely the most complex of all of the dishes. And I think that that's because of the sofrito. And that flavor to me is very Puerto Rican. You get it in a lot of Puerto Rican dishes, and having it here with the spam and the plantains, it makes the dish feel very special. And it doesn't just feel like you're having spam and plantains. I didn't really grow up eating plantains, and a lot of the experience that I've had with them has actually been on this channel, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about them. Plantains you'll often see as a replacement, in a way, for potatoes because they're very starchy, they're calorically dense, they're nutritious, there's just like a lot going on. I mean, they also taste really good. But fun fact, the Portuguese actually brought potatoes to India, and so in a dish like a dosa, which you may or may not have had, but it's a thin kind of crepe-like pancake stuffed with potatoes, they used to be stuffed with plantains. The more you know. But that is in a way just to say that I'm sensing a lot of similarities between this dish of the spam and plantains and the dish from Singapore, which was spam and potatoes. I was surprised when Giselle said that parts of Puerto Rico didn't have refrigeration until the 60s, which is why spam was kind of a beloved food there. In general, if you look at the history of spam, it is closely related with American occupation abroad. It has a negative history overall. However, I think that it's worth looking at how the food has been reimagined today and adapted into different cultures in a way that is not just feast or famine type of food. I would rate this spam dish a 10 out of 10. I feel like I'm rating all these 10 out of 10. But I'm really enjoying all of these dishes. The sofrito especially with the plantain, there's that sweetness and tanginess, and I put a little bit of red chili, so there's like a little bit of spice. It's great. All of these dishes that I'm having in this episode are not just like cutting up a piece of spam, but it's truly been an incorporation of cultures. But if you don't want to try spam because you have a negative connotation about a canned meat, I think that you should try it. And I think that you will be pleasantly surprised to see how complex and beautiful and just at the end of the day, delicious this ingredient can be. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's keep cooking spam.
Hello, I'm Monique. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. The Spam dish that I would like to share with you is chicken fried Spam. I consider chicken fried Spam a struggle dish when there's not a lot of food in the house. The term chicken fried is using the same method that you would use to make fried chicken. You will place the sliced or diced ham in a wet batter and then dust it with seasoned flour before being fried. I like to serve it on top of my favorite spicy ramen noodles with an egg. I like this dish because it feels like I'm eating something special that is not a struggle meal. Spam is easily found in the United States. Since it is shelf-stable and pre-cooked, I like to have it on hand in case of emergency. One day I didn't have much money, but wanted something really good to eat. I love to try to create meals out of anything that I have available. I showed a picture of my creation to my sister, and now it's something that she wants me to make when she comes over to visit. The popularity of Spam in the US is 50-50. Some people like me find it very delicious. Although very high in sodium, I have to watch my intake. I would say that is why most people do not choose to eat it. I think people should try chicken fried Spam because it is something different and very delicious. It's not something that you can buy in a restaurant, making it that more special.
Chicken fried Spam. I am incredibly excited to try this dish. I had chicken fried steak growing up as a kid. Freaking loved it. I'm curious if chicken fried fill in the blank is a thing outside of America. And it's not chicken fried chicken, like chicken fried something else. I don't know. Oh my God. I'm having it with some egg yolk. I have not had instant noodles in a while. I feel like it's time that we do another instant noodle video, by the way. Ooh, spicy ones. I want to mention what Monique said about this dish being a struggle meal. I think that that is something that a lot of us can relate to. I've definitely seen it being talked about in the comments. I've talked about it with some of you. I think oftentimes we associate the idea of a struggle meal with something that just feels basic and not necessarily enjoyable. But I've definitely learned on this channel through the ingenuity and creativity of so many of you that there's so much that you can do with very simple ingredients that not only taste good, but make you feel really good. And to Monique's point, look, is this something that you're gonna eat every single day? No, but it's something that is also fun to eat and can make you feel good if you're not feeling that great. Food is not just about, fueling your body. It's also about fueling your soul a little bit. Okay, that's a little cheesy, but I think that you know what I mean. Sometimes what will make you feel good is putting a little bit of batter on a piece of Spam and frying it up. And I can understand why. I'm curious what other versions of struggle meals are out there that make you feel really good. Leave them in the comments. I would love to read them. I want to thank everybody who was in the video this week. I was already a Spam lover, but now I am even more of a Spam lover. All of the recipes are going to be in the description, so if you want to copy any of the meals, that's where to look. I have left 2 videos here for you to watch. The original Spam video with all of the cool stories, and because I'm eating instant noodles, let's have an instant noodle dish over here. I will see you all in my next video.